Yo, it's the deal. It's your player partner, Bobby A. Jones, coming at you once again. You see what the topic is. Are single mothers the reason for our underachieving, disrespectful, and criminally inclined youth? And just to put this out there, right? This isn't this isn't a means or an attempt to downplay, overlook, or criticize the single mothers in our communities. This isn't what this is about. What this is creating meaningful dialogue so we can get to the root of some of the problems that affect us as a people. You feel what I'm saying? Um, it's a saying, right, that European colonizer had came up with, and that saying is, if you want to easily overthrow a people, um, or a nation without having to fire off a shot or go to war, the most effective way to accomplish that is by infeminating the males. So what we're witnessing now, not just in our communities, but just in society, is the over infemination or feminization of males. A lot of males are now existing in a place that a lot of women should be, existing in. You feel what I'm saying? So I just want to get to the root of the problem, create some thought provoking dialogue, so we can see, how could we collectively come together and assist these sisters in creating better communities for us. So without further ado, man, I want to play some audio for y'all, and I also just want to say, in my opinion, where the breakdown of the nucleus of the black family comes from is the introduction to welfare, systemic racism, and things of this nature. A lot of our a lot of our peoples come from the South, right? So I'm gonna just speak on Watts in regards to this. And Watts, it was a lot of factories and it was a lot of warehouses and whatnot. So they spread the word around the South that if you're looking for affordable housing and you're looking for a great career, get on a train, go to Watts, get off on the 103rd station, connect with your people, and you'll be able to get some stability out there. So they had our peoples to migrate out here in droves, right? But within a certain amount of time of our people being out here, they closed down all the factories, they closed down all the warehouses, and they shipped them out of state. So now you have, all these individuals that you brought out here for uh 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 for housing and for employment opportunities. Now these individuals are without work. And then they came and introduced welfare, the government. We'll come over and we'll give you assistance with housing. We'll give you assistance with food. We'll give you assistance with your essentials to where you don't even have to worry about it. Let us worry about it for you. But the kick is this is the only thing, right? This is the main stipulation. No male could be in the house. So out of survival, black women begin to push black males away, and then they begin to take on the mindset of their white counterparts who are saying, we don't need a man, we need equal rights, we need to be able to stand up for ourselves and do this and do that, right? But the thing is, these same white women who were saying that they don't need a man, they were going home and still being submissive to their white husbands. They wasn't breaking up their family. They wasn't getting their husbands out of the household because they understood the importance that a man plays in the development of the children. But our women didn't understand that when they joined these Caucasian movements for equal opportunities and women rights and so on and so forth. And we don't want to be subjugated to the leadership of a man. So God forgive me if I'm speaking wrong, right? I feel like in that situation, our women turned their backs on us. They didn't believe in us. But it was systemic racism that played a major part in it because it made it seem like the man was ineffective and the man was incapable of taking care of his responsibilities. But y'all had us to come out here. Y'all had us to migrate out here to watch. Y'all gave us work. And then within a certain duration of time, it seemed like it was systemic. It seemed like it was strategic, like it was intentionally done. Y'all get rid of all the warehouse work. Y'all get rid of all the factories. And now you have 10,000 people, 20,000 people that's jobless. How do we fend for ourselves when it's no work? And then going to Hawthorne, because a lot of people went to Hawthorne and they start getting jobs at Lockheed, and some people start going to the surrounding cities, but the surrounding cities have to take care of their population, have to give jobs to their population. So now you have this this high level of unemployed individuals. The unemployment rate has now shot up because the jobs is gone. Now I'm in a position to where I can't take care of my family, but that don't mean that I'm not putting forth the effort. That don't mean that I'm any less of a man because I fell into this trap. But I digress, right? Um, hold on. All right, there we go. Boom, we back. We live. So instead of taking it from my perspective, right? I want to give you the statistical data that shows you exactly what happened in these communities to where the women lost. Well, the women being lost trust in us. When it goes back to the slavery days when they were buck breaking us, when they take the biggest and the strongest male, take him in the middle of the village, and then they sodomize him. In some cases, they don't sodomize him, but they are beating within inches of his life. They'll take the head person, the head individual, the head black man, and they'll bring him in the middle of the field or bring him in the middle of the compound, the plantation, and they'll beat the dog shit out of him and say, if we can do this to the strongest of you, imagine what we can do to all the rest of you. So a lot of women lost faith in their husbands, and they got in a state of mind to where I'm in survival mode. I got to survive and do whatever master want me to do for the sake of my children. So that type of thinking and that type of mind state was resurrected when they introduced welfare. A lot of women turned their backs on their husband. And if you don't believe me, I'm gonna give you the statistical data. What is the origin of this? What is the origin of it? What does it come from? The women not believing in a man, or the women having this tendency to feel like I'm just as capable of taking care of my children as a man is. No, you're not. But let's get into the statistical data of it. Yes, women don't under what it takes to be a man. This is their this is why they're fine with having children, but don't want to be men. Hey, what you saying, brother Salty is absolutely correct. But I'm gonna give y'all, so this clip that I'm about to play, it was from an interview in 1986. And listen to what the sister say. Raise your hand if you're married. Only one. None of you are married. Raise your hand if you would like to be married to your baby's father. One. I'd like to know that. Listen to the sister response. Your child to think about, and then a whole family to care for. It's basically she talking about having to be the breadwinner and the provider of the family. Because, like I say, they brought us out here. I'm speaking from Watts. I'm speaking from the experience and the perspective of individuals from Watts. They had us to migrate out west, right? They had jobs. These jobs came with benefits. Brothers was able to put the down payments down on houses. You feel what I'm saying? And take care of these houses and whatnot. But next thing you know, all the jobs is gone. So now this man can't provide for his family. Now they introduce welfare to the woman whose husband is struggling. A lot of responsibility. And then you don't want the commitment. I don't want no man holding me down because I think I can make it as a single parent. But don't you think you might need help in raising that baby from a man? Not really. I didn't have a father. My father wasn't in the home. So, it really, male figures are not substantially important in the family. 53% of youth suicides. That's part of the origin. That's part of where it's come from. Women feel like I don't need a man. My father wasn't there for me, so why not break that generational curse? Why not break that cycle? You see the effects that it had on you without you having a father. You see the effects that it has on your self-esteem, your outlook on life. So why wouldn't you go above and beyond to make sure that your children have that other important part to their lives? Now let's talk about, we talked about the origin, right? You just heard the origin of it, right? Where it comes from. Now let's talk about the statistical data of what the effects of not having a father has on these kids.
Youth suicides are from single mother homes. 90% of homelessness and runaway children are from single mother homes. You can't put that on the mother. 85% of children who show behavioral disorders are from single mother homes. 80% of rapists with anger problems are from single mother homes. 71% of high school dropouts are from single mother homes. 70% of youths in operated institutions are from single mother homes. 80% of all the youths in prison are from single mother homes. This shows that boys and girls need both their mother and their father.
That's true. Boys and girls need both their mothers and their fathers. But we're going to also get into some audio that shows you that a father has the same ability to produce the same results as a single father as that of a household that has both parents. So let's get into this.
No fathers in the home have lower self-esteem. Okay, fine, that sucks.
Girls with no fathers in the home have lower self-esteem.
But also, women with low self-esteem are more promiscuous. No father family.
Women with lower self-esteem is more promiscuous. When these little girls grow up and they don't have a father figure, they don't have a positive male role model in their lives, what they do, they hit the streets and they're looking for veneration. They're looking for validation from males. So a lot of them subject themselves to all type of sexual exchanges just so they can feel validated, just so they can feel like somebody loves me, somebody understands me, and somebody is here for me. But when you coming up in our culture, we have the natural tendency to want to be womanizers, right? Most of us, not all of us, but most of us want to be players because that's what we see in the community. A lot of us want to be pimps because that's what we hear in the music. That's what we see in the movies that we love, and that's what we see in our community. So when these young ladies who are looking for an identity, looking for somebody to love them, looking for guidance, looking for a male role model, when they come into the streets, it ain't no love in the streets for them. So what the young players do when they see these young ladies and they don't have the level of intelligence and comprehension to understand that this young lady is going through something, she's going through an identity crisis, she's going through a state in her life to where she feel like she needs a male to validate her, so they have sex with her. No commitment. Then his partner may have sex with her. No commitment. Then the dude down the street may have sex with her, no commitment. The dude across town may have sex with her, no commitment. Then next thing you know, when you look up, she's labeled as being promiscuous, she's labeled as being fast, she's labeled as being a hoe, she's labeled as being a bitch, and all these other negative attributes that we associate with women who are damaged, who are hurt, who are neglected, who are abandoned, and looking for some form of relevance in life. But it all stems from having a father or a positive male role model in their life. I'm gonna tell you a story real quick. I know the homie be like, you gotta land, cuz you gotta start landing, yay. But check me out. I had a homie and I had conversations with this dude. This dude was known as the type of dude that'll unalive you, right? He got into a situation where he was unalive, right? Both of his daughters is now popping PUSSY on social media, selling PUSSY, messing with all type of different dudes. At some point in time, homie, we got to stop and we got to reflect and we got to assess ourselves, reevaluate ourselves and say, man, how is my behavior affecting my kids? I had to do this. When I was gangbanging in the streets and engaging in all type of crazy SHIT, I had to say, man, if I leave here, then who my kids got? When I was out there hustling, and the reason why I was hustling because I couldn't get a job because I had a criminal record. When I was out there hustling, man, I tried to invest in one of my first child's mother, right? I tried to invest in. I said, go back to school. I'll help you. Got her back in school. She wasn't that intelligent, so I had to do the homework for her. I say, listen, man, I'm out here living this life, this fast life, trying to get money to do this and do that. And I'm still gangbanging. I'm still gangbanging. It's no in between for me, right? And I'm still gangbanging. If anything happened to me, you got to be there for our baby. So that's why I'm investing in you. That's why when I come home, I count up in front of you and tell you, look, put this to the side, do this, and you got to learn how to manage this. You got to step into a position to where you're trained by me in case any type of bad faith befall me, you can pick up the pieces and you can take care of our kids. It didn't happen, but I had to reevaluate what was going on in my life. when I seen that she didn't have the ability to be a nurturer, to be a provider, to be a protector, and to give nourishment to our children, I had to look at myself and say, man, there's some shit I got to change. Because I can't go back to prison. Because if I go back to prison, my kids ain't going to have nobody. And if my kids don't have nobody to guide them through this shit called life, then they bound to be the next statistics coming from these impoverished communities. So I changed my life for the sake of my kids. If I'm able to introspect and make that type of commitment, not to myself, but to my kids as well, then other fathers should be able to do the same thing. To see my homie daughters on social media shaking their rear ends, and then she just released a video where she performing fellatios on her boyfriend. Is this the faith that we want for our daughters? Because the mother can't raise kids to be what we expect these kids to be. A father has to be there. But let's get back into this audio, man.
Is more likely to be victims of abuse, especially with single mothers. The more opportunities a child has to interact with biological father, the less likely they are to commit a crime or have contact with a juvenile.
Let me run it back.
The less likely they are to commit a crime or have contact with the juvenile justice system. Okay, another way to mothers. The more opportunities a child has to interact with biological father, the less likely they are to commit a crime or have contact with the juvenile justice system. Okay, another way to say that is men and women who are incarcerated, the population of the prisons mostly encompass fatherless homes. Now, here's something that no one else has mentioned, which I think is cool, and I don't really say this eloquently. If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father. So if we want to keep children, adults, out of prison, mother, father, or just father. Well, we don't want to hear just father. So let's try to keep the families intact. I think that just seems better. Girls with no
the bullshit that people say, like, a single mother family can do just as equally as well as a two-parent household.
No, it cannot.
The biggest bullshit I've ever heard in my life. I've lived it. I lived it enough to tell you it's a fucking lie. The bullshit that people say, like, a single
children from a single mother household end up not doing well in school, end up more on drugs, depression, jail, the whole thing. Whereas versus a dual parent household, typical nuclear family, the results are so much better. The anomaly in that is children raised by just a father turn out to be just as well as raised as in a traditional nuclear family. These are the kind of stats that you're referencing.
100%.
Go deeper on these stats. What's your biggest takeaway?
So my biggest takeaway from that is that the man is a critical piece to the development of any child, whether it's a boy or girl.
Okay.
So whenever you remove that, it comes to your mind. It just make you think, like, is there an agenda behind this? Because we got all of these societal norms, you got this pressure, you got consumerism that's causing women to want to be, city girl lifestyle, hot girl summer. What does that do to the nuclear family? What does that do to the kids?
Children from
96% of the men are raised by single mothers in the city.
90%, 96%.
Single father, they keep their children out of the system 78%. That's the national statistic. Having a single father is the equivalent to having both parents. Having a single mother is the equivalent to the prison sentence. Guaranteed. That's literally what statistics are. So that's correct. But how many men would you take? No, I didn't say it was wrong. What I said is most men are not willing to take that chance. So then,
a woman cannot successfully raise children on her own. And I don't want to come on here and make it seem like I'm taking shots at the women. Like, no, I'm not taking shots at the women, because us as men, we need to step the fuck up. But when we step up and we make a positive effort, you have to be receptive of that. You have to support a man who's making an effort. A lot of our women don't want to accept a man who's making an effort because they feel like you got to have your shit all the way together. You got to be making $100,000. You got to be here. You got to be there. You got to be doing this. You got to have this type of image. You just can't have a good heart and a dedicated mind and drive and a motivation to be the best that you can be. You got to come and you got to be a person that's earning $100,000 and so on and so forth. Or you got to be the dude on in a foreign car with a fly car, in a foreign car with the big rims and all that. You feel what I'm saying? We got to do better. So women, you got to start being more mindful in the dudes that you're selecting to be, your baby daddy or your children's father. You can't pick a bum ass nigga and then complain that he's not there. You knew he was a bum ass nigga when you opened your legs up and gave him some PUSSY. And this is just the truth of the matter. This is why these boys are so effeminated. This is why we got, high dropout rates. This is why so many of our youth is in and out of prison and control facilities and so on and so forth, because the women feel like they can do it on their own. And you can't. You need a man. You need a man to provide. You need a man to protect. You need a man to provide direction. You need a man. But the thing is, you have to be more mindful on what man you allow to come into your life and have that important role of raising children with. You got to start asking these dudes questions, knowing their background. How do you deal with conflict when you're in a heated situation in a relationship? How's your relationship with your mother? Do you have mother issues? What is the most traumatic thing you ever experienced in your life? You got to start asking these dudes questions. I believe it was the Honorable Louis Farrakhan or the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that all it takes for us to improve our nation is for the women to offer themselves of the mightiest to the mightiest of the warriors. You got to offer yourself to a man that has substance, a man that have drive, a man that's willing to make sacrifice. You can't just go on the streets and just, holler at a dude because he handsome and he got this and he got a chain on and all this and all that. How much substance does he have? Is he dependable? Can you rely on him? Is he a provider? Is he a protector? How much trauma has he endured? Is he in survival mode? Do he have an understanding of who he is? What his ambitions is? These is questions that you got to start asking these dudes. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm gonna play a couple of more audios, man, and I'm gonna get on here, man. So the answer to my own question: can a woman raise a man? She can't. A man needs to see a man being a man in order for him to understand what manhood is. That's why these young men right now, they're too emotional. They're not pragmatic. They're not logical in the things that they do. They do things off of emotions. And I'm gonna play this audio for you. Then I'm gonna get up off this thing. Thought-provoking content.
Story time. Over 30 years ago, during the height of mass incarceration, I was a third-year college student who got fucked up on bullshit and ended up doing a gang of time. One day, when I first started doing my time, an old man walked me around the track. He taught me a few things, and among the things he taught me was in the form of a question, and this is what he asked me. You know why these motherfuckers up in here like this here, don't you? I said, well, yeah, murder. And he said, no, murder might have been the charge, but that ain't the reason why they up in here. I said, well, what's the reason? And he said, for having bitch-ass ways on the street. What? These big, swole, gang-banged out the game motherfuckers from every gang set in the state of California. What the fuck do you mean by that? And then he said, let me explain. 90-something% of these dudes right here were raised by women. And as a result, they have female emotional tendencies. That don't make them gay, but it does make them dangerous. I said, what do you mean? And he said, because when you combine male masculinity with female emotional tendencies, you'll kill a motherfucker over how you feel. But you'll never kill a man over how you feel, because tomorrow you're not going to feel that way, but that motherfucker going to be just as dead, and you're going to be up in this camp looking at me. That's why when you get mad, the first thing you have to do is calm down and be quiet. And whatever you have to do after that, you do that shit calmly and quietly or not at all. But that's why these niggas is up in here. They're not in here because they was in danger. They in here because they was in their fucking feelings. I'm telling you some good shit.
Words to the wise. Women, you have to be more informed. You have to be more meticulous in the individuals that you decide to lay down and have babies with. And I'm not here to judge you or demean you or nothing like that. I'm just saying, just be more mindful and be more careful with the guys that you want to have these kids with, because an absent father can have such a negative effect and impact upon the lives of its children. So when you lay down with these dudes, you know what I mean? You got to ask yourself, does this individual offer me emotional security, emotional safety? Does this individual offer me physical security and physical safety? Does this individual offer me commitment security and commitment safety? And does this individual offer me community security and community safety? If you can't answer these questions for yourself, then you probably should reevaluate that situation with that guy. If you can't get the answers for yourself, can this guy provide me with protection, guidance, and direction? Can I rely and depend on this individual, when I feel like life has got me down, or I'm overburdened and overwhelmed with the situations of life? If you don't have a yes on that, then you should rethink having a child with this individual. I'm gonna share some with you. What I'm gonna share with you is the 7 principles of smart love, right? The feeling of falling in love tells you very little about the quality of a relationship. However, you can use the 7 principles of smart love to increase your chances of success in a relationship. And this is for a man or a woman. This is the 7 principles of smart love. Seek a good match. That's number one. Number one, seek a good match. How do you seek a good match? Do y'all purpose, do y'all mission align with one another? Do you have similar interests? Do you have similar goals? Do you have compatibility? Most of all, do you have a relationship to where you can effectively communicate? Is there an abundance of understanding to receive that communication? Seek a good match. Number two, pay attention to values. What does this individual value in their lives? If it's materialistic BS, if that person is superficial, then you may want to reevaluate getting into that level of a commitment or a relationship with that individual. Number three, choose a real partner and not a makeover project. See, women, they're notorious for falling in love with a person who has potential, but that potential haven't manifested. So therefore, you're falling in love with some shit that don't even exist. You can't take that potential to the bank. You can't take that potential to the car lot and get a car. You can't do shit with that potential until that potential manifests into talent or something that's tangible. And the same thing for the brothers. We choose a makeover project. They call it, being a captain save a hoe or trying to build a bitch. Build a bitch workshop. We can't do that. We have to be more mindful of the things that we engage in when we engage in with these women who are damaged because they're dealing with abandonment, abuse, identity crisis, and all this type of shit. And you feel like, well, I can make her a good wife. She got a big ass, nice smile, pretty face, big titties. You know what I mean? I can make her a wife. No, you can't. You can't make her a wife. You can't reform her until she get to a point to where she say, you know what? I want to be a better woman. I want to be a better mother. I want to be a better person. You can lead a horse to the water, but you can't make them drink. Player partner. Number four, don't change yourself to be somebody else. Be who you are. Like these youngsters say, stand on business, stand on principles. Don't start changing yourself to fit the expectations of this person. Be yourself. Don't change. Stay who you are. Be the person that you are. Stay true to yourself, and that's gonna shine. Number five, expect good communication. Don't run from conflict. In a relationship, we are going to have to communicate in order to navigate through the hardships and the challenges that our relationship may endure or experience, right? And we got to learn how to take time outs, right? So when we dealing with women, we have to be pragmatic and we have to be logical, right? So I'm not about to stand right there and argue with illogical, emotional women. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna say, look, check this out, Queen. We had a place to where we can't effectively communicate. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go downstairs. I'm gonna chill on the couch for a minute. Just give me a minute. Let us both get to a point to where we're level headed, and then we can come back and communicate. And when you use this tactic called the timeout tactic, right? Or the timeout practice, or the timeout technique, you never want to revisit that argument or that heated situation in less than 30 minutes. Wait 30 minutes, no less. And you never want to let it go beyond 24 hours. So the minimum that you wait is 30 minutes, and the maximum amount of time that you wait and put it on pause is 24 hours. If you wait longer than 24 hours, then it becomes a situation to where she can say, or he can say, oh damn, you still on that, you bringing that back up, I thought we got over that yesterday. And if you wait anytime less than 30 minutes, she's still emotional, she's still heated, she's still dysregulated. You feel what I'm saying? So number 6, don't play games, pressure, or manipulate. And brothers, I feel like sometimes a lot of us play games, we pressure and we manipulate. Women do the same thing too. They're just more subtle with it. But when you're trying to genuinely get to know a person and build a successful, effective relationship slash partnership, you don't want to play games, you don't want to pressure, and you don't want to manipulate. And number seven is have a bottom line. You got to have some things that you're not gonna compromise on, that you're not gonna give in to. Like, this is my bottom line, this is final, and I'm not giving in. If you can use these keys and these strategies that I just shared with you, you can create a meaningful and beneficial relationship with anybody. Anybody that's on that same level and that same frequency. I can't say anybody, because sometimes we meet individuals who are still in survival mode. If you're in survival mode and I'm at a point to where I'm living and I'm doing my thing, and you're in survival mode, you look at me as a person that you can leech off of. You look at me as an opportunity. You don't look at me as an individual that you can build and have a partnership with, because you're in survival mode. And it's these 3 keys that I want to share with y'all before I get up off this thing, right? And at some point in time, I'm gonna revisit this. I know it's kind of like ambiguous right now, and it seems like I'm everywhere and all this and all that, right? It's 3 keys to creating a successful, meaningful relationship. The first key is do your part. Whatever is your part. Getting to know her background, getting to know her love languages, exploring the 7 different types of love with her, you know what I mean? Asking certain meaningful questions about how do you respect your father, what type of household did you grow up in, how do you communicate when there's a crisis or there's some type of drama in a relationship. What's your most effective way of communicating your feelings and conveying how you feel. Even just her background about how her mother raised her. You know what I mean? That's doing your part, finding out who it is that you're interacting with and dealing with. And number 2 is decide, don't slide. Think about all the relationships we slid into with a female because she had a nice ass, probably had some good pussy, bomb head, got a car, got her own spot, and she say, "Baby, I want you to move in with me," and you don't even think. So you slide into that relationship without understanding each other boundaries, without communicating expectations, and all these things. You just slide into that relationship. So don't slide into a relationship. Decide into a relationship by taking, the time to really get to know this woman, the inner workings of her mind. And then number 3 is make it safe to connect. A lot of women, they masquerade and they put on this facade of being this and being that, because us as men, we don't make it safe to connect, because they feel like we're going to judge them, we're going to criticize them, we're going to try to degrade them or demean them. But we have to make it safe to connect. In order for us to go through all these other steps, we have to get to a place to where she feels like she can be vulnerable while she's with you. She feel like she can be open, she can be honest, and she can be, just herself. You feel what I'm saying? But if you can follow these principles and incorporate these into your dating situations and even some of your relationships and whatnot, what you do is increase your chances of having a meaningful, beneficial relationship for you and your significant other. But I'm about to jump up off this thing. May y'all stay up and be blessed. You know what I mean? Just to answer my question, no, a single mother cannot produce children who are accepted, venerated, acknowledged, and followed by other people without there being some type of character defects. A single mother can't do it. Are single mothers the reason for our underachieving, disrespectful, and criminally inclined youth? Yes. Yes, they are. But us as fathers, we play a big part in it too. Because if we can be more mindful of the women that we ejaculate into and create these children, we can minimize some of these hardships and these unnecessary challenges and things that our children face because we're not being there and we're not present. So y'all still be blessed, man. It's your play upon the Bobby A. Jones, too black, too strong. We all we need, we all we got. Gone.